Hello and welcome to Sticks and Stones. I have with me my guest today, Madison Vale. Welcome. So as you may notice, we actually have a different background behind us. I decided I was going to take Sticks and Stones on the road for the next couple months. So right now we are in my home office. Well, in the dining room, actually.
Occasionally in my home office.
Yes.
My portion of the office.
Occasionally Madison's home office, and we'll tell you what that means a little bit later. But if you guys are tuning in for the first time, Sticks and Stones is a concept that I came up with because of that old adage, sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. And I call complete BS on that. I think that words can be very powerful to either lift us up, tear us down, and we always have emotions running through us for whatever's going on, and finding the right words or phrases to describe those can really help us understand how to work through them. You put a name to them. So I wanted to create a platform for people to come and share words, phrases, the stories behind them, because we all have a story and we're never alone in the world. I'm probably going through something you're going through, or Madison's gone through something that some viewer has gone through. So that's what Sticks and Stones is about. I always forget to introduce myself. So let me do that real quick. My name is Michelle Hausbeck. I am a creative strategist and I own a design and marketing firm. And that's actually a really good lead-in to our guest here. I'm going to introduce Madison a little bit more, and then she's going to share a word with us.
Oh, I go first.
You're gonna... I'm putting you on the spot.
I was good with this. I could just sit and just listen.
No, you have to participate.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to put her on the spot and have her go first.
Okay, wait, do I get introduced?
Yes.
Oh, should I introduce myself? Okay, well.
Go ahead, take it away. You got it.
Okay, my name, Madison Vale, and as you introduced, I am here through you. Mm-hmm. You gave me a job. I went to school for something else completely.
What did you go to school for?
I went to psychology. I have a psychology degree, and I love people and working with people. And then we went and had a conversation, and I said I've always wanted to work a little more artistically. Mm-hmm. I do have a minor in art, and so you gave me the ability to go and do that with graphic design. So I'm kind of like intern. What was the title? You've given me a title. So speaking
Madison
of words
and
the importance of words,
yes,
my title is
officially Madison is my creative assistant.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we started working together a couple months ago.
Yeah.
It
has been a couple months now, I think.
Yeah, her husband was actually in a networking group of mine, BNI, and he became a client, and then I met Madison through that connection with her husband, and we just had a few conversations. Like she said, she's always wanted to get into the creative space, graphic design, mm-hmm. and truthfully, having a psychology degree as a background is fantastic for marketing and design, because you got to get into the heads of people.
Yes. And I like that.
Yes. And she is extremely creative.
Thank you.
We're just learning the actual ins and outs of the programs now, but there's not really too much of a learning curve as far as the thought process and the design ideas that you can come up with. So that's awesome.
And that's the fun part.
Yeah, that is the fun part.
Although it is nice to learn something new.
Yes.
Which is my word for today.
All right, so your word is new.
And I just feel when it comes to starting something new, it seems so exciting, and even when you're a child, hearing the word new, it's very exciting. Like I have 2 kids. And so whenever I say that we're doing something new, they tend to get excited about it.
Right.
And I feel like it starts when we're young and it keeps going as we get older. But I almost feel like there's kind of like a new, almost like a tally inside of our head where we try something new and it works out and we're like, new shoes, check. And then that worked for me.
Those
and
are
then
always good.
and then we try out some other things that were new and it kind of does not work out.
Right.
We try a new road. That did not work out. And I kind of feel like that tallying ends up messing it up as we get older. And I feel like we're less likely to try new things the older we get.
Because of those new things that didn't work out.
Yes. And just like with, well, they say with words, like negative words have so much more power over positive words. That like if you say something negative to somebody, in order to almost counter that, you'd have to say something like 10 positive things to counter that one negative thing that you said.
Because people tend to hang on the negative
and
way more than the positive.
And it just keeps repeating and repeating. And so all of those like little negative new things that we have done, those didn't work out for us. They just way heavier.
Right.
And so it just kind of starts to decrease. Like now, if I go over to my parents and I tell them, like, you know, what if we do something new with the decorating? Let's go try something new. Let's go to a new restaurant, or let's go, and what about a new color in the kitchen or something like that? And my dad, the look on his face is just hilarious.
No.
He's just like, no.
Nope, keep it the same.
Yeah, he's like, it works. Everything works. I know it works. I know that this is going to get me through the day, and this is how I want it. And I just feel like you kind of start to lose out.
And that one of the things that I really appreciate you, just as long as I've known you too, is you have this outlook on life it's that excitement. Like you're willing and wanting to try new things. Because it's like a sense of adventure. You never know what could happen, what opportunities could unfold with it. Yes. And if you try something new and it doesn't work out, it's still a tally, okay, maybe over in the negative column, but there's some sort of gratification that at least you tried it.
Yes.
And there's probably a lesson to be learned if it didn't work out.
And then how you view it. Yeah.
Right.
So how you, and just can take you to new places, and maybe the new place is somewhere you've always wanted to go, and it's a risk, but taking that new path that one day to work actually might not just be shorter, but maybe you see a restaurant that you've always wanted to check out. Like the tiny things that are like small new things can lead to bigger new things, and can just keep taking you on a nice new path.
Yeah, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And one of the big things, which I'm going to get to when I do my word, is that I kind of have coined the phrase, at least in my life and in the business, which is design your next chapter. So that's something new, right, that you would be doing, or a different way maybe of doing something that you previously did. Because life, the only constant in life is change.
Yes.
So it's kind of like own it. Roll with it. It's gonna happen. Make the best of it.
Definitely the own it portion.
Right. Or fight it tooth and nail. And that just makes everything just frustrating.
Yes, it does. It makes every little thing that comes your way so much worse if you're fighting it all the time, instead of being like, well, you gotta just keep going with it.
Exactly. So in your new right now, how are things going? How's it affected you and maybe changed things?
I mean, honestly, it started with like the very first new thing that like we did was actually even going out to dinner with you that one time.
Yep.
You and Doug. That was new because Alex and I, we haven't gone out with like another couple without like the kids or anything for like
adult time.
It was like, hey, like we're here. And we don't have our kids, and we are sitting across from 2 adults, and it was an exciting, that was new for us, and that one new dinner led to me getting to know you. I mean, there was no way I would have even crossed my mind.
I wouldn't have either. That
we would
point
be
either.
Here, and it all started with just going to dinner that one time, And then it just, that's...
It's cool to look back to and see how things like linked together. Like if I wouldn't have done this wouldn't have happened, then this wouldn't have happened.
Oh, yeah.
And you can tie everything back. I mean, we really could tie it back to Alex making the decision to join BNI.
Oh, yeah.
Because obviously I wouldn't know you if that didn't happen.
That's true. That's true. And honestly, that wasn't something Alex wanted to do in the beginning. So
yeah,
that was something that his work was like, hey, you're already going to do this now. And he was like, okay. But he kept going. He didn't have to keep it up and, throw himself into it the way he did.
Yeah. But there's a reason for everything. That's what I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't believe in coincidences.
So my new has worked out really well.
Good. I'm loving your new too.
This new path where I am now, time goes by way too fast in this house.
It does.
Every time I'm here, I'm like, and 5 hours. Wow, that was like 2 seconds.
You just get engrossed in the work.
I do. I really do.
Well, your word, new, is actually pretty relevant to what my word is. So my word is vulnerable. And the reason I chose vulnerable is because I have had a lot of new things come up, especially this year. But they all kind of started beforehand. I've announced this a couple times on Facebook and a few different shows that I rebranded my company. So 444 Creative has been around for the last 12 years that I've owned, has been rebranded to Housebeck Brand, a creative company. Yay! And the website's live and social media. Thank you. Social media is starting to roll out, and it's been such a labor of love over the last year and a half. But anytime you do something new, especially if it's putting yourself out there in a fashion for people to judge you,
right?
You feel so vulnerable because you don't know what people are going to say. You're hoping it's a positive reaction, but everyone has their own perceptions of things and their own judgments. So far it's been pretty good, but you still feel vulnerable. I have a side gig that I do, Rodan and Field Skincare. And when I've been doing that almost 3 years. And when I rolled that out and started telling people, the response wasn't quite as positive and supportive because why are you doing this? Which truthfully, I have fascination with skincare. I always say if I wasn't in this field, I should have been an esthetician. I've had skin concerns, and I'm a firm believer in residual income and extra streams of income. You cannot always put your eggs in one basket. But I think from that experience too, it taught me a lot about, I got to figure out what I want to do in this life, what really drives me and what's my passion and how I can help others, and just own it and roll with it.
Yes. And it's hard though.
It is, because everyone has opinions.
Yes. Yes. And you have to put yourself out there to them, because if you close the door, like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be a stone while I do this, you're not exactly
right
you anymore.
Yeah.
You're not doing things as you. You're doing your things as like a statue version of yourself.
Or what other people want you to be.
Yes.
Which that's hard to not, be the people pleaser.
Yes.
And
to want to mold just a little bit.
Right.
And so that's one of the risks when you open yourself up like that. One of the risks is possibly letting others change you.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have to still have your backbone, but at the same time, you have to be you.
Yeah. And I think too, being vulnerable, it has great reward though. Because I've had this in my life, when I make myself vulnerable, and there's many different ways, people surprise you too a lot of the time about maybe their support, how they react to things in a positive way. I've talked about this a little bit before, but one of the hardest things to do in life, at least for me, and I think most people, and especially women, is to ask for help. And that's a form of vulnerability to ask for help, because you're saying, I can't do this on my own, whatever it is. And, you know, somebody could say, why can't you do this on your own? Or say no.
Yeah, right.
And then you're like,
that's really hard for girls, actually. The saying no, if you get asked, then that's the other one is learning.
Right. But then you're also surprised at how, I mean, people want to help though.
They do.
They want to help. They want to be supportive. I think there's a lot more cheerleaders in this world than there are naysayers. But what you said is people kind of hang their hat and focus on the negative.
Yes.
So you could have 20 cheerleaders supporting you.
And that
now one person
oh my
not.
Goodness. That's in there. I mean, it's like, my goodness, that's all that matters is that one negative thing.
Right.
That's so true. It's sad. But people really do. It makes them feel good. So it's like asking someone, it almost makes it sound selfish in the process. But asking somebody for help and letting the other person help you makes them feel good about themselves.
Right.
You know? Does. Like it's like when you go and volunteer and you know, and it's
self-gratifying, but you're helping somebody out at the same time, right?
Exactly.
If you're going to be selfish.
That's a way to be selfish, right?
That's a good way to do it.
I help so many people because it makes me feel good.
Right, exactly. But I think being vulnerable, you know, our words actually go really well in tandem, I think. It's being vulnerable to do whatever you're going to do, and it's probably something new. You know, a lot of the time, if you're placing yourself in a vulnerable position, even if it's asking for help, that could be something new.
Yes. And new often implies a vulnerability because you don't know how it's going to go.
Right.
You're doing something new. You have to open yourself up to any possibility when you do this.
Yep.
Actually, if you're going to do something new, it's important that you're vulnerable.
Yes.
Because when you have your mindset already going into doing something new.
Right.
Do you know, especially if it's a negative mindset, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to hate going to this. I'll go to it, but I'm going to hate it. Like there's going to be nothing I like there. And then you go there and then odds are you're going to feel that way continually. Like you will pick out things.
You've already prejudged the situation.
You prejudged it.
Right.
You don't want to be wrong. You don't want to be wrong.
I know, exactly.
So you're like, it's going to be this way. And I'm going to be like, did you hear the way that person was talking to me? That's obviously
you're going to make it not a good time.
I know. Yes.
That's a really good point too. And what I always say too is, I mean, even to myself, if I have to go do something or I chose to go do something and I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, you know what?
I'd rather be on the couch.
Right. I'd rather be in the pool.
Oh, yes.
You got it. You know, you're going to do it. You committed to it. Mm-hmm. You might as well just have an open mind and see what happens and go in with a positive mind frame.
Yes. Because
you never know.
Yeah.
You never do.
Enjoy it. Enjoy doing your new thing and then be like, hey, this is going to be new. It's going to be different, but I'm going to make the most of it. And
if you don't like it, don't do it again.
Yeah, right. That's always a solid option.
It is.
No one's making you do things twice.
Nope, that is true. So in a nutshell, here's what I would say to our wonderful audience out there. Allow yourself to try new things, even if it's something like Madison was saying, super, super small. Take a different way to work. I actually read that helps our brains, become more creative, but also opens us up if we start with the small things, like taking a different road, trying a different brand of food, watching a new show on TV. The really tiny, tiny things starts getting us in that mind frame of, okay, it's not so bad. You know, if I try new things out.
Try not to weigh too heavily when the things don't work out. It doesn't mean you should stop everything new. There's still probably a lot of new things that you tried that worked out.
Yeah, and that's a good reflection to do as well.
Yeah.
You know, what are the good things what are the new things that turned out good?
Yeah.
You know, take a look past the last couple years or whatever. There's probably a lot more good things than there are bad. We just tend to focus on the bad. And while you're trying new things, or before you try new things, wrap your head around being vulnerable. It's okay. It's okay, because we all are vulnerable. You know, even if we're putting on this hard shell and being stone, you know, that stone presentation, nothing's gonna affect me. It's still gonna affect us.
So true.
Even if we put on the perception that it's not, it is.
It gets through.
So it's gonna get through anyway. So just, you know what? I'm being vulnerable, and you're gonna have cheerleaders out there. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
So I like being cheerleaders.
Yeah, they do.
They
People
do.
enjoy supporting others, especially if they're your friends and your family. And if you get that one or two person that wants to tear you down or isn't supportive, let it go.
Yeah. Like a duck, water off your back.
Yep, water off your back. Just let it go. Well, I want to thank you guys for being here with us today. Thank you, Madison,
Very welcome.
for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
And possibly watching.
and thank you for exploring your new with me.
Thank you.
All right, guys, have a fantastic day, and we will see you next month. Bye.